Alright, hey, what's up guys, what's up? So I'm back for today's video. We're going to read chapter 5 of the Chronicles of the Universe. So it's been a good day so far. I finished, shoot, what is it? Day 20. So I finished day 20. I did the warrior workout along with like the average version of the X3 for the P90 X3. And at first I didn't like the warrior because I thought I was, it makes you like, it's weird, but there's certain workouts that although I guess it's not as intense as you would think from the other workouts, you sweat more. And I feel like that's because those are the areas that you really do need to work on. So for me, out of all the workouts I've done this week, the one that I did today, which is called the Warrior in the P90 X3 workout album, that one always makes me sweat the most. I would have showed my shirt that I had. It literally has sweat covering like 70% of the shirt, but it's in the laundry now. So that's I'm not gonna pull that out now. but yeah, honestly, it's been pretty good so far. Everything's been good. Let's see what I was gonna say. Oh well, yeah, but today's October 20th, 2014. I'll be able to see Lalo, hopefully Chainto, mi tío Lalo this weekend coming up, so I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, I know I've heard that Lalo has a girlfriend now, so hey, good job. You have to introduce her to us, well, to me and Michelle, so we can see how she's like. Hopefully she's not pothead. I'm playing. I'm joking. She seems like a very nice lady. So, but congrats though. So anyway, so for today's episode, we're gonna read chapter 5 of Free Mind, as I've said before. I was gonna do like a bonus video where I would well, I lost my train of thought. Where I would actually record like a workout too. So I was thinking of doing like recording myself doing my today's workout for P90 X3 and with the average for X. And give me 1 second while I pick that up really quick. Alright, and we're back. So, it was just a telemarketer call. I called back and there was no response, so I'm like, fuck it. So anyway, I should get that on that do not call registry to get that blocked. But anyway, I'll do that sometime. So anyway, we're gonna read chapter 5 and we'll see how this story will turn out. So far, the first 4 chapters the first 2 chapters have been discussing the first alien 3327, his experience with his empire and why he's going to Earth, and then the next 2 chapters were about Commander Rowe and his chief and commander from the empire, and then they had a little story coming along, and then so essentially up to this point we've had 2 distinct aliens traveling through space together, and they're going to Earth. Both of them going to Earth and doing their own separate policy, their own separate reasoning to go there. And with that, I'm gonna read chapter 5 of Free Mind, and we will see what's gonna happen here. Oh, and before I go on, I just want to say, hope all my cousins and friends have been doing excellent. I know Monday's a drag. It's always that the start of the bad week coming up. But again, we'll see you guys this weekend, hopefully. Lalo, Chanito, Vidi, Chris, everybody. Hope you guys hope changes can come down with Lalo. That'd be great. And but yeah, I mean, you're always welcome to our home. Always. Just remember that you're always welcome every time you guys come. So you always make our lives more worthwhile. So with that said, let's read chapter 5 of Free Mind, and let's see if I can fix this a little bit. Make it straight. Nice. Oh, and since just so you can see what 20 days have done so far, I got a little going up so far. Usually when I wear really tight shirts, it shows when my chested pecs and everything. I'm seeing the difference now, and I'm only on day 20. But again, I realize that luckily I have a body structure that allows me to essentially work out and see results faster than a normal person. Because I guess I'm still young. I guess my metabolism still hasn't been destroyed yet. I mean, I'm still surprised I can still eat anything that I want at this point and still, have this great physique. Thanks to, I guess. I mean, all I can say is, the genes, I guess help out. But well, actually, I'll explain more on that as we go on, because I can go off on a way different topic with that. Anyway, so let's move on. What I'll do is once I get to my first stopping point, we will cut, we summarize that, and then I'll talk more about what I was trying to say. So here we go. So chapter 5 of Free Mind. So let's see what this is all about. John is the name, simple-minded, to himself, nothing special, just regular old me. I like to think of myself as a hero. Actually, more than just a hero, someone with a purpose in life. What's not to say that I hold probably the most important piece of information in the history of Earth's history. Yeah, bad writing, I know. What's not to say I will share this secret with them once I get there. Even though my job is to give the secret of world peace to this doomed planet, I can choose whether to deliver it or not. It's not easy having all these conflicting thoughts. It's hard sometimes, puts a pounding and a mental stress, rises from it all, and makes me feel worthless. Of course, I'm not saying that I should not share the secret at all, it's just that I have a choice. That's right, a choice. Something probably a lot of people don't have. Luckily on my planet, this is definitely the case. Freedom and liberty run amok on this whole planet. But you know what really gets me mad to the boiling point? The fact that citizens on my planet will sometimes complain about the lifestyle they live. It's as if they weren't enough already to be a proud member to live in our society because, not to sound arrogant or anything, but we have the best living system in the entire universe. No doubt about it. Hearing stories of empires in chaos and people actually worshiping a creator that isn't there. It's all about logic and scientific thought. There used to be a trend that people followed and actually believed it was going to work. That would be believing in a super all-powerful being that created everything out of nowhere, but not having evidence to prove its existence in our world. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you have ever thought of? Well, let me tell you, people actually believed in that fairy tale. But thanks to our majority rules campaign in our world, we were able to vanquish those responsible for false worship and either threw them in the dungeon or just got rid of them on the spot. You see, there is no government where I live. It is all about majority rules, my good faithful listener. It's all about what the majority wants and feels the need for it, and I for one are in complete and full support of it. I mean, why would you want to have the opinion of a few selfish brats who only want what they desire, when you can have the rest of the community thinking in a different way? And that way usually is the right way, in my opinion. For example, we had an incident where someone was accused of teaching the theory of creationism in our school. That's religious talk, if you didn't catch it in the first place. As a whole, we frown upon this waste of life for not teaching the proper way of how we came to be for our younger population. So we all met and decided that the proper way to punish this hooligan was to hang him in the public square and let everybody have a look at him to serve as a warning to those who were and will not want to teach what he did again. Sometimes destroying life to protect life is our only option. The reason being is that if a life lives for the sole purpose of trying to infect and put ridiculous and dangerous thoughts in our children's heads for malicious purposes, wouldn't you want something to do, something about it instead of just letting it happen? I, for one, am glad our community serves the people and looks out for them, because no matter how much criticism we receive from the minority population, we will always have majority rule. And as long as we have that, nothing can be stopped. Simply put, nothing special, nothing more. It's just a way of living, and that is exactly why I'm traveling on this ship, because of my own desire and free will, and not because some dumb leader ordered me to. I did this for my own self-benefit and self-interest in the hopes of one day finding a planet that will be suitable for my lifestyle of living. Oh, who am I kidding? Wait a minute, I need a minute. Would you hang on and give me the time I deserve? Thank you, you are most honored. And we cut off here for now. So far we meet this new character who calls himself John. And from what we see, he comes from a planet that's falsely is very liberal, and essentially it's a direct democracy in which the majority rules in this whole land that he lives in, and that if anything is passed, if anything is to be frowned upon, it's decided by the majority of the population that lives on the planet and not by a small few. Then we get this interesting subplot in which he talks about religion and how they've come to understand that science and technology is the way to go, and that's how we've been able to establish how we actually came into this world, how this universe was created, how this empire was created. So you could say this is probably my first quasi foray into like controversy, I guess, between science and religion. I mean, I wanted to do this because I wanted to people to maybe question a bit about, you know, their own thoughts, you know, like what they believe. Like, I'm not saying that religion is wrong, I'm not saying that religion is bad or poisonous at all. Again, from the perspective of the story itself, I'm just saying that, you know, these people believe in this fictional world that religion is pretty much cancer, and that no, it should not be taught at all. We should not infect the young population into believing that some sort of imaginary being in the sky, you know, protects them. You know, that's all I'm saying. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I wanted to make it a little controversial, so, you know, we can have some critical thinking in the process. You know, not just have blind sworn allegiance to some entity or something like that. But yeah, so wow, so now we have something cool going on here. So with that, let's continue and we'll go on to the next section. So let's see what happens here. Okay, I'm done. Thank you for the time needed for me to recover my senses and get a hold of myself. I don't know what got to me back there. I was trying to make myself believe that I really enjoyed my time on the planet I resided, when in reality, between you and me, it really isn't what I would call a utopian society. I mean, we have our flaws and all. It's not like we are the perfect society, and that is part of the reason why I left. Forever. Yes, as in never ever coming back at all. It's just that I don't approve of coming back, and part of the reason for that is because well, it's really hard to explain. It's like, not that I got bored and all, but in a way I grew tired of the way we lived. Yes, we were free to do whatever we pleased, and what I mean by whatever we did as we pleased necessarily didn't mean we meant to rob people or start having sexual relations with our citizens in the open without their consent. Since we still established our own set of laws we saw as suitable for our community to follow and obey, I loved it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, because that is one thing I always loved and treasured about my personality. The fact that lying always burned a hole in my heart, and as well as the community we lived in, as we hated liars like dogs hated cats. That didn't make sense, but I'd rather be convicted a mental freak and a cruel murderer than be labeled a liar, because even though we didn't really have any specific laws that spoke out against lying, we always looked down upon liars. We considered him to be the cancer that was trying to ruin the good structure and design of our own government as people. We hated liars with a passion, and that is one thing I will always miss from my planet as I move on this ship heading towards Earth. Actually, I chose to go to Earth because it was the closest planet with life that resembled our own. Nowhere else were these humans as close and as configured in structure, both physically and mentally, as these Earthlings did. I felt somewhat better, almost as if I had found the perfect replacement for the home I had lived in all my life. It wasn't such a bad home life either. I had a great time here on my home planet. Barbecues every Sunday with community members, having our annual World Cup of Soccer in which citizens got into groups of 11 and played soccer against each other until the winner eventually won a trophy for their effort, and a reward sum of money, and having nice, relaxing long naps and having bonfires while staring at the beautiful moon. So graceful, so majestic, so everlasting, immortality. Isn't that what most of us strive for in life? I wish I could live forever. I'm not going to be a hateful liar and not speak this out of sheer randomness or something. I really wish there was a way in which our chemical structure were able to adjust to living eternal life and not get old and die. From my perspective, if you're going to eventually be deceased and only be remembered for a couple generations before you become completely forgotten forever in the mindset of the citizens, then what is the point of life? From my extensive reading and studies, you can say that part of the reason we are living creatures on this planet is what I call the 5 steps of life, living and death. If I remember correctly, and solely from memory, I can recall what these 5 steps were, according to a book I read, and then he states as follows. 1. Be lucky to have been the fastest sperm and given the chance to live on this planet. That's a pretty good one. 2. Grow up and enjoy your childhood. It will be your only one. And boy, is that true even to this day. 3. Find a mate and reproduce to produce offspring of your DNA to make your generation live on forever in the offspring. I mean, people will tell you that that's really what life is, procreation, just being able to spread your genes, to be able to have your offspring live on in you. So once you pass away and move on to the next world, at least a part of you will live on in your children. And that's basically what this thing is trying to say. Number 4, grow old and teach your children all the knowledge you have received over the years you have lived and share the wisdom required to live life at its best, which is, pretty standard for most people. Once you get old, you want to give all your wisdom to your kids, to your grandkids, make sure that they have a safe life. And then 5, simply put with one word, die. And that's it. That's your basically your circle of life, taught in 5 sentences. And so for him, for John, that was his his mantra, his slogan to live. Now continuing on. Now this is pretty depressing to say the least, for me that is. What bothers me is the last one. It simply said die. Like it wasn't bad enough itself. It's not that I fear death per se, but it's just I can't find a real and truthful reason. I guess I can say that death is maybe an illusion for me. You see, even though I don't like hearing or reading the words die, death, or dying, I always try to find ways to cope with this depressed state and lift my mood and spirits up by saying that once we live life to the fullest, we will be transformed somehow into another dimensional void of life. The scientific logic tells us that once our bodies cease to continue giving life, life ends at that spot. And there is nothing you can do about it because once you are dead, you just become nothing. No heaven, no hell, nothing. Just become energy for the universe to use. To be honest, that is pretty depressing because not only is it saying you will become insignificant as a human being once you have ceased to exist, but your energy will go off and join something else instead of staying in the body to may recover and wake up. You know what that tells me actually? The fact that I can die tomorrow, and if my energy decides to leave and go somewhere else, I'm pretty much done for. Now, that's not so very nice. I thought our energies cared about our bodies and would at least have some sort of consent and feeling about leaving a once living body dead and crawling on the floor with nothing going for it. It is just something that makes your mind go crazy. Listen, I gotta go. Having talked this whole entire time and not actually gotten the coordinates ahead to planet Earth, so I would do just that. And I will get to meet with you later. Am I correct? Good. Till then, cheers. And right here we'll stop for now. So we get this little monologue in which he goes over life and how he feels, in his opinion, how life should be living. Now, he describes a little bit about how his empire was like, how, the barbecue, soccer. So what he's describing is pretty much simply, it's kind of like normal life here, and he does say like they're almost as close to human beings in terms of structure as anybody else in the universe. Then he goes over like the mantra, the 5 points of life, and how he has a very, very distinct hate for the word anything relating to dying because, as we've heard earlier, he would like to live forever. But again, that's not so easy when your bodies are programmed to one day wither away and move on. And so things get pretty interesting here because now you have a lot of the mindset of a character. You start to realize what this character is thinking. And and again, this guy is going to Earth. But he's going to Earth, to choose to decide if he wants to share the secret to world peace, which is I feel like that's what he's trying to do with what he did to his home planet because I guess that worked out for them, so I guess it might work out for Earth. Who knows? So with that being said, let's move on to the next section, and we will see what happens here. Okay, let's go. Back. Welcome. I just finished coordinating the route of this ship so I'd be able to shift this onto autopilot and let it travel to Earth for us. And in the meantime, I'll have time to speak my thoughts about everything. Well, maybe not everything, but some. In terms of exactly why I'm making this trip, besides the whole running away from my home planet in search of a new place excuse, I wanted to bring the secret of world peace to the inhabitants of planet Earth. Why am I doing this, you ask? Not because I'm forced to, if that's what you were thinking. I'm actually doing this for my own self-interests. I want to have Earth experience peace and calamity for the first time. Not that I care. I mean, if I do end up even staying on this new and unforeseen planet, it's still something to be seen. I realized along the way that our way of living really isn't as magical or as spectacular as one might think. I mean, it's great to have no form of government whatsoever, but the fact of the matter comes down to whether the people are mature and able to handle the responsibility of knowing that no one is watching their back, and that they are virtually free to do as they please. I mean, the majority, and I'm not going to complain, most of the time we were doing things that can be seen as goodwill to the community and in the best interest of other people. We always tried to get opinions from everyone before we started doing something beforehand. I guess the fact that we had this sort of freedom eventually became our flaw. Now, how can I really express what I mean by the flaw that we experience as free people? I mean, to be free, you have the ability to pretty much do whatever you desire and please, so that it is a guaranteed right as a citizen. But you also have to always put other people's thoughts and ideas into play, and not always be so selfish and egocentric about your own well-being. This is probably why, even if we were all free from governmental power and allowed to do what our hearts desired, we would take advantage, but not in the way that most of us would see it. As for me, taking advantage of something, let's say in this context, I just received complete freedom and am allowed to do whatever I want at this point, I would do whatever I could that would benefit me and complement me on different levels and such, just as long as my activity didn't intervene with others as much as I want. Apparently, that's not the case for most people that I knew when I lived back to my home planet. Now, that is a different story that I would not rather discuss at this point. There was a time when our people weren't as civilized and ordered as they are now. And those are really painful and terrible memories that I would rather not bring up because I don't feel like shedding a tear or two. Please, excuse me while I gather my thoughts as the thought of my life then is giving me a headache. Okay, so in this short little excerpt, he basically just goes over again why he's going to Earth and why he wants to bring the secret of world peace, because I guess in his planet it's worked, but he feels like there's a flaw in it. And this is pretty interesting. This is like me asking you, let's say we lived in a world where there was no laws, no government. Let's say it was, I guess you can say anarchy. I guess that's the word, anarchy, where it's ruled by the majority, by the people. So you're given freedom to do what you want, but in the back of your mind, you have to understand that that doesn't mean you can do anything you want. You have to be able to live life freely without intervening in other people's lives. So it's weird because it's like most of us, I'm sure some of us do desire to live in a world where we didn't have to be brought down by some government entity or be told what to do. Like we could live just life, like we could build things, we could experiment things, we could interact with people, we could do our own business, everything without any sort of laws tied to us. But again, as he says, probably the ultimate flaw here is that that's it, that it's free, or that we're free to do what we want. And what tends to happen, unfortunately, is that some people will take real advantage of this and just do what the hell they want and not care about others. And that's ultimately the main flaw. And that's why you need order. You need people that can hold authority. Because if you just let people do whatever they want, unfortunately things will just make, maybe the majority will still be okay, but there will always be that minority that will just screw everything up for everybody else. And that's ultimately what ends up being the downfall for most ideas such as this. So we do get some sort of ideology, conflicts in this point. I mean, we had religious arguments already. Now we have ideology arguments in terms of freedom versus control. So we're getting there. We're getting pretty interesting here. So with that being said, let's move on to the next section, which is actually pretty short too. And actually the chapter is almost over, but it's gonna be pretty interesting. So we actually have 2 more sections. So let's read the first section here. I'm back. I guess I can explain some things I didn't feel like explaining the other day. For one thing, I want to travel to Earth because I don't want them to have their own lives ruined by each other because of their own selfish needs. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I give a rat's butt on how Earth is doing and what their people do and all, but still, I have respect for this planet. I have not the slightest idea as to why. Why? It's like I want to help this planet, but not that it should be my own business anyway. I mean, heck, I'm supposed to be contributing goodwill and peace to my fellow men on my home planet, and yet I'm here on a ship traveling towards a planet that I have read around in books and readings and already praising how my secret to world peace will change and alter the way they live now to suit them a better life. It's just weird stuff, man. I mean, if I do end up living on this new planet that I'm planning to be heading towards, I gotta at least do my part and help them in every way I can, shape or form that I can possibly do. I don't expect to just stay there and not contribute to Earth as I did on my own planet. That would be blasphemous indeed. I do certainly look forward to helping this planet achieve world peace. Not just looking forward to it, I'm excited about it. Because not only will this help me in the long run, but I would be doing the world a huge favor in solving all their world problems, and in turn, they would make me a world hero. I'd be looked up by all and amaze all my superior intellectual skills. Not sounding arrogant here, but with my intelligence, I'd be sure to have Earth bowing to my feet faster than you can name all the planets in the Milky Way galaxy. I know, that was a bad joke, but what does it matter anyway? It is simple. Spread the secret to world peace and make Earth worship me. Now, for a second, you might be thinking to yourself, wait, this isn't world peace. You're just taking advantage of these people. Isn't that being someone that takes advantage of other people? And we were told you were not that type of person earlier? Well, that is true. Wait a minute. I guess I just mistook myself for something I'm not. Now, getting rid of all my earlier thoughts and perceptions, I know you're eager to figure out this world peace agenda I have and what secret power will it hold that will change the way humans on Earth live, eh? I'm prepared to tell you just that, faithful one. My secret to world peace will comprise exactly 10 steps, and in those 10 steps I plan to change the way these people live and somehow convince them that the way they are living now is unsuitable for them and they are slowly destroying the land which was given to them by Mother Nature. Wondering what these 10 steps are? Well, I will not tell you right now though, because apparently I see that we have an incoming asteroid belt at the moment, and you wouldn't want to be killed by said asteroid belt and not ever know there's a secret to world peace, eh? I know, it's kind of funny. Well, I'm going to navigate this ship, and while this is going on, you can ponder and think about what the 10 steps are that might change the outcome and balance of human living beings on Earth. Till then, I will concentrate on getting this ship back on board. So that's the first section. So now, he just goes on to say that, his world peace agenda is now in full force, and he does something a little interesting. He says he's going to state the 10 steps to world peace, which is pretty interesting. So we're going to get more personality from this character and see what his true intention really is. So with that, let's move on to the final section of this chapter, and we will end and discuss some few afterthoughts about the chapter as a whole, and then we'll see what happens from there. So here's the final section of chapter 5. Okay, got the stuff out of the way. Now that those asteroids are out of the way, I will be able to explain to you my plan to bring world peace to the world of Earth. Well, I guess I can call them my 10 commandments to world peace, written by yours truly. The guidelines I've written are stated as follows. The 10 commandments to world peace. I can imagine like a teller right there right now. The 10 steps you are about to read are all the all-knowing secret and ideals that will value a civilization and bring them to their knees to the point where they will set aside all their differences to come together as one. The following steps are as follows. 1. Get rid of all weapons that cause malicious harm to humanity, which in this case would be objects like missiles and atomic bombs. Seems pretty simple enough. 2. Teach courtesy to the fellow man and give them direction on how to properly respect one another. Boy, do we need that in this world, I'll tell you that. So that's a good one. Sorry about that. 3. Don't give in to their demands for change. You will have to be strong with your change and have faith things will get done. So what this one just says is that don't give in to change just because they're telling you to. Change for yourself. Change because you want to, for your own self-benefit, not because somebody's telling you to change. You do it for yourself. And let me just get a quick water, since we're almost at the end, so I'm gonna get a little refreshment. Let's see. Alright, so we're on number 4. Okay. Number 4, get rid of all material possessions in the world as all they bring are jealousy, envy, and disgust from everybody else. Now, that's kind of an interesting one, because what would happen if you got rid of, if you basically took away everybody's things and just say, okay, you guys get a house, a bed, and food, and that's it. But everybody gets like the same type of thing: the house, bed, food. Like that's it, something like that. It reminds me of like a communist state, you know, which is not what people want, you know, because again, in communism, even though it's a good idea in theory, it fails in practice because of the one fatal flaw, and that's human nature. You know, we don't like to conform. We like to have ambitions and explore. But again, that's a topic for another time. So number 5, start taking care of the environment, because it is the home that you live in, and it would be much appreciated if you took care of your home. And that makes sense. You know, you want to take care of, like, the way you take care of your house where you live in. That's want to take care of the environment. You know, that's you know, so he has some good points here. Number 6. Lose the human-made food. From now on, you will feast on fruits and vegetables to grow strong and healthy. I think what it means by human-made food is like processed foods, like, you know, like microwave foods, top ramen, you know, basically stuff that isn't made like stuff like that isn't made like naturally. It's all like microwave processed, you know. And interestingly enough, he does say to feast on fruits and vegetables, which is good. But I guess what he doesn't think is that you need meat too. Like, you need some protein, some stuff from the meat that you only get from meat to, you know, to develop yourself, especially as a guy. You know, maybe for women not so much, but for a guy, you know, you need some sort of minerals to keep your physical power intact. So that's all he's saying. Number 7, which is simple: spread goodwill and peace to all. You know, we need that here. Number 8, everyone is to be taught that we are all here living for a reason. So why not make the best of it and try to know everyone as much as you can, and help each other whenever there's a problem. Now this is a good one. This is something I can get behind on, you know. We're all here for a reason. We're lucky to be here on this world. So why not know everybody? You know, help everybody, teach everybody, you know, get to know each other, make friends, you know, go out, you know, that's all good. That's all good. So John has some really good ideas here. And he seems like a good person, you know, going on with the story. Number 9, support is a huge factor. That's pretty good enough. And finally, number 10. Finally, promote building up cities and towns that will help support each other, while in the meantime have a conscience about the environment that will help settle down the balance between how much to build and how it will affect the environment. So this one basically just says that, you know, it's okay to build. It's okay to build stuff. Like, it's good, you know, innovate, do stuff, but just always have the environment in mind, or the environmental impact in mind, and how things can be affected, you know, by all this. So then it says, done. This is all my own creation, and I must say, I really believe this will work out well to my advantage, because not only will it help establish my case pretty well, but it will give me some sort of back to explain myself as to how and why I'm doing this for the people of Earth. Oh, what a great plan this is, fine gentlemen. What would I have done without this masterful plan of mine to bring world peace to a troubled and unsettling world? I'm just glad and feel very honored and grateful that I will become that person that will change billions of people's lives. And become the biggest and most remembered hero in the history of Earth. Boy, would that feel stupendous. Well, I guess I have all my plans worked out now. Gotta go get some errands done. Tally-o. And that's the end of chapter 5. So now we have a new character. So first we had Code 3327, that's heading to Earth. Then we had Ro, who's also going to Earth for his own reason. And now we have a third character going to Earth, and his name is John. So you might be wondering, well, now we have 3 different types of aliens going to Earth. So how is this going to correlate with the whole, or how are they all going to be connected at the end of the story? Well, as I said, there's 20 chapters. We actually finished 1/4 of the story, and let's just say now things are gonna pick up pretty soon. Actually, the next 2 chapters are still gonna be kind of building stuff up. But let's just say the second half of the story, that's when things will finally start picking up for real, and then we'll have the battles and everything. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Trust me on that. It'll get very interesting. So with that being said, you know, I want to say thanks for joining me on today's chapter on the Chronicles of the Universe. And again, like before, I just want to say, you know, hope everybody's been having a good Monday, and I can't wait to see, you know, my cousins and my uncles this weekend. And with that being said, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys have a terrific rest of your day. Thank you, and bye-bye.